I'm Nick. I am not an authentic Viking, sadly, but I will do my best with the hair and beard and voice. Yeah, you guys probably know me from the TPK server. I run a lot of games. I don't get to play many, and usually when I'm in a stream, I'm either running the game or running the OBS. So thanks to Shweta and Kumi for giving me this nice little holiday. And yeah, I love Viking shit. I love Age of Heroes shit, and I love kicking ass in the name of paganism. Like, very excited about this. Looks like an awesome game.
Yeah. So let me tell you a little bit about this game. So Beowulf is a setting for D&D 5e 2014. Specifically, it's designed for two people to play, one person being the player and one person being the dungeon master. And it's structured to create adventures with the feel of the epic Anglo-Saxon poem Beowulf, which is the root of so many fantasy stories and folk tales. So in this particular adventure, especially this one that we're playing, we have like a lone hero who sets out to fight monsters with a capital M. And our current adventure, we are going to play. We have our hero who travels to an island sanctuary of a hermit to investigate the tale that a monster is eating people. Now, before I get to your character, Nick, I just want to start off with a little bit of an introduction. So we all have those moments where, sorry, is it? I'm so sorry. Do I need to unmute? I'm sorry. I'm just seeing a message right now. Do I do the intro again? Should I go ahead? Should I go ahead with the story, or should I come back to how I killed everyone? Okay. Yes. So basically, we're the Pigeon Killers, and currently I am running a game for Nick called Beowulf. Once again, let me tell you about Beowulf. Beowulf is it's a setting designed for D&D 2014, and it is meant to be played by two people. So it's a duet, a GM and a player. And it's structured to create adventures with the feel of epic Anglo-Saxon poem Beowulf, which is the root of many fantasy stories and folk tales. So in this particular adventure that we are going to play, our hero, Nick, is going to be traveling to a hermit, a sanctuary of a hermit, to investigate investigate a monster with a capital M who is eating people. And so before I get you to introduce your character, Nick, I just want to start off by saying that we all have those moments when we feel like we're going against the crowd, against the popular understanding of that time. And it is in these moments that we face the greatest challenges, where our beliefs and actions are tested against the norms and expectations of society. The fear of standing alone can be overwhelming, but it is often in these moments of isolation that we discover our true strength and purpose. When we choose to stand up for what we believe is right, despite the pressure to conform, we have paved the way for change. So we're going to go a little back in the past, before your heroism, before you set off for like the Hermit's Island and everything. And we're going to talk about the time when you had such a moment in your life where your life as a hero began. You were in the Isle of Sheppey in your Lord's Mead Hall. If we can transition to the map, we will see what a mead hall looks like. And you might hear some music if I am doing this properly. So you're in the Isle of Sheppey. You're in your Lord's Mead Hall when Agnes, a woman that you know, who has a little boy named Ulfgar, she frantically comes running in, calling for help. She says, please help me. And she talks about how she was picking berries with her son, and she was answering questions from the little boy. He was always very curious. He had many questions, and she was teaching him lessons about animals that she could see in the greens. And she called one of the animals Bera, and her son didn't understand because he read that name, but it was different, and he was a little confused. So to clarify, she called the animal by his real name. Now, you would know that few people call bear by their proper name of Arth, since that is believed to summon them. Instead, they say Bera or the brown one and hope for the best. You remember Agnes was pleading with the mead hall, but people started to call her out. They said, "How could you leave your child behind like that? You couldn't. You just left him." And she held on to a little bit of hope. She said, I buried him, like I put him inside a burrow. I hid him there, and I was trying to hide myself, but I couldn't find anywhere. So I came running here to call for aid." And then the others chastised her for calling the bear by its name. Doesn't matter how curious the boy is, you shouldn't have said the bear's name. And it was at this point when the lord of the mead hall, Elfred, said, "Well, is anyone going to help her?" And you felt adrenaline hit your body. Can you introduce your character?
Of course, I am Asbjorn Skal, and I spent some of my childhood worshipping the Christian god of the West, but through some unfortunate events I have found my true calling and the true gods again, and I am determined to write my name into history, to bring honor that was lost to my house and my name back, and to fight the monsters in human skin and the monsters in more terrifying forms that cause harm to my kin and my people.
Well, as the mother comes and asks you for help, what do you do?
I stand up, I look around the meat hall, and I say, "This was a mistake to call the brown one by its true name for sure, but it is not a mistake that was made by the child. No child should have to suffer the sins of the parents. Let us leave the judgment of this matter to the gods. But any able swords who are willing, come with me, and we will defeat the brown one, save the child, and bring peace back to Sheppy."
You look around, a few people look and they kind of, it looks like they're appreciating what you're saying, and then there are a few others who seem a little put off. Your lord watches you curiously. You see one woman picks up her axe and she holds it up in front of you and she says, "I'm with you." So that's one person that you have with you. Do you make your way to the greens?
I give one last look around the meat hall and say, "Really? There is only one other brave person? Amongst all of you warriors, amongst all of you mighty, mighty Northmen and Saxons, there is one who has the courage to face a brown one with me?"
It's almost as if people are like, now at this point, those who you know as warriors are either watching you or are either hiding away from you. But the woman who picked up her axe approaches you and says, "We need to help the boy. Let's go."
I'm gonna clasp her by the forearm and say, "Let us do it. This way we will only divide the glory by two. There will be more for each of us than if these cowards had joined."
And I would say that the two of you make your way. You know her. You've seen her before in the mead hall and around. She is Hala. So you make your way to the greens as quickly as you can. I'm putting you, I think you can see the change in the scene.
Yep. Looks very nice. Very nice map.
So can you make a perception roll? I will give you advantage because Hala is with you looking alongside. I would say that before you roll,
Sorry.
you're going to discount this roll. Before you roll, one mechanic in Beowulf is that you are either a follower of the old ways or you follow the church. So every time our hero has advantage, they assign the die. They say, okay, this die is for the old ways and this die is for the church. And if the die that they follow, the alignment they follow gets the higher number, then they get an inspiration. So roll again. This time, remember to assign the die as old way or church. And then let me know what the bigger number is and if you get an inspiration or not.
Beautiful, thank you for reminding me that. So we'll say the first one is for the old ways. And actually, sorry, I'm not hugely au fait with all that. Alright, so for the old ways, that is a 16. I'll add the modifier in a second. For the church, come on, 15 or lower. 18. Beautiful, and that will be perception plus 5, so 23.
Okay, so you reach the greens in record time with Hara, worry about the little boy hiding in the burrow. You see the bear pawing at a branch of a fallen tree, and with a closer look, you realize that the boy has actually been chased out of his burrow and is trying to shelter from the brown bear underneath the foliage of the fallen tree. He's trying to hide himself, he's trying to quickly dart away from the claws. But upon seeing you and your friend Hala, the brown bear forgets the little kid and lunges forward to attack. Roll initiative for you and your follower.
Beautiful.
For your follower, just roll a d20.
Beautiful. Ah, very nice. So for myself, that will be 20 plus. Oh, sorry, still a bit new to this character sheet, but I think plus 1. Yeah, so 21 for myself. And for Hala, 13.
Okay. 21 and 13.
Yep.
Let me add you to the initiative.
And we're gonna shout, "Hey, brown one, come and pick on somebody who is still nowhere near your own size."
You don't have to. It's already it's got you. It's got the message. It's coming to you. And Hala was a 13.
13, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
No worries, mate.
One second. All right. So I am just going to roll for the bear. I'm going to do it on the BTT. Aha, there you go. I unfortunately don't get any advantages or disadvantages. Okay, I figure out how to roll on owl bear. Oh, 19.
Nice.
But that's an 18. That still makes you the first one to go ahead. So you see him next to the fallen tree. What do you do?
I charge in, shield up, axe at the ready, and yeah, see how hard I can hit this bad boy.
Yes.
Beautiful. I'm gonna come around here just so Hala can hopefully get in behind him. And first attack roll of a new game. 6. That was. Yeah, that was a little underwhelming.
6 plus?
Plus 5 for 11.
Just missed. I'm sorry. But you know what? It's his turn now. So let's see if he does better. So he's going to re-roll that. Another 19. That is a plus 7. So 26 to hit you.
That definitely beats my AC.
Okay. And that's a D8. So that's a 10. D8 plus 5. So that's 10 piercing damage. Luckily, you're not as weak as a level 1 regular D&D character. You have a little more to you. Hala sees that you're in trouble. What does she do?
I think engage. It's yeah, we're not gonna run away after 6 seconds. Yeah, glory, Valhalla, one or the other. So yeah, run in, engage it as best you can.
Yeah. So you can move her token, right? You can. I think you can control her.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So she has advantage at this point. She stands on top of the branch of the broken tree.
Nice.
You can just roll a d20 for her. I think her weapon. You have her stats, right?
Yeah, I do. I've got the little card here. 3. Did you say that was with advantage?
Yes.
Yep. All right. Come on, dice. All right, 18, and where's her stats gonna get? Beautiful. And she has got a Hella. She's got an axe, so that'll be a d6 of damage from her. Well done, Hella. Beautiful. That's 4 points of damage.
With 4 points, and with the seeing that there are these 2 people that are like flanking it, it kind of looks a little lost, like for a second. What do you do? You have advantage?
Hey, if it looks a little lost for a second, you know what? It's not the bear's fault that some silly person summoned it. I think I'm going to try and make an animal handling check to drive it away as opposed to killing it outright. Alright, so... Come on, dice. 12 plus 5 for 17.
17. I'm just going to roll a die to see at what point. I'd say I'd roll with disadvantage to see if she wants to continue or she wants to run away. She has pretty strong survival. She sees 2 people and she thinks more can be on her way, and she starts to back away slowly.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm gonna make myself look as big as possible, bang my axe against my shield, make a lot of noise, and try and hide the fact that I'm bleeding profusely and it hurts to stand up.
I'd say that at this point she backs away. It takes a minute or so, and then she runs off. The little boy comes running and hugs Hala around her legs. You see that he's looking very injured, very weak, and the moment that you catch his eyes, he sort of falls to the ground unconscious. Hala, I'll say, looks at you, looks at him. Well, this is something, and then she picks him up, like moves towards you a little to sort of help you stand in case you need any help. Do you take help, or do you kind of try to stand on your own?
No, I'm gonna lean on my axe, and I'm gonna stay upright through sheer pride and willpower. The young man, you give him your full attention. I will escort you both back to the mead hall, looking out for further danger.
Okay, then make another perception check.
Oh. Sometimes that's not what you want to hear. Oh, not 20 plus, I think it was 5. Yep, not 20 for 25.
With the 25, I'd say you keep an eye out. At some points you do see the bear, but it's kind of on a retreat, like retreating away from you rather than trying to get closer to you. So it is keeping its eye, but also trying to run away, trying to make sure that it's not being followed. And the 3 of you make your way back to the mead hall. Here you see that people are kind of as they were before, but Agnes is pacing up and down. You see the Lord has actually taken his he's taken steps close to Agnes, and he's standing with her, putting a hand on her shoulder, trying to comfort her. And Hala brings in the little boy and hands him over to Agnes without too many words. The Lord looks at the two of you and he says, "So, did you confront the bear?"
Yes, it was trying to fish the young man out of a tree. We fought bravely. Hala covered herself in the glory with great courage and skill. And we drove off the brown one in the hope that nobody will be foolish enough to summon him with his true name again.
You drove him away. And he looks at the people in the mead hall. I would say, and he pauses for a second. That really is something. You saved the boy and you saved the bear. Why did you choose to save the bear?
It is not the fault of the bear that it was summoned, and it is for the gods to decide if the bear should live to see another day. If they had have given the strength to my axe to fell it before it was driven off, then so be it, but the bear acted according to its nature, and it did not act with malevolence. It is an animal, not a monster.
Your lord looks at you for a second. You know his name to be Elfrid, and he smiles. He looks at Hala, says, "The wisest of heroes have a deep and insightful nature. They are rich in empathy, and they use their life experience to save the people around them. I call you the council caller." And like he gives you the title of the council caller, which is your subclass in Beowulf. In Beowulf, your class is hero, but then you can be any particular subclass, and the one that you chose is the council caller. This is for the old souls and mystical heroes who use their awareness of the world around them and their common sense to their advantage. And you've shown that today. So you see respect for you grows in his mind, and you see the people around you as well look at you with renewed interest. And days pass, and you are soon running. You're expected to sort of help people and have these adventures. And one such day, you're in the mead hall, and your lord sort of gestures for you to come over, which is not unnatural. He has been known to call you over, listen to your thoughts, and talk to you from time to time. He's trying to speak to you, but it's a little hard to hear over the people in the mead hall celebrating, talking loudly, and everything. And he asks you to, gestures you to come closer.
Go on, sorry.
No, go on.
I go over. I stand as close to him as possible while still being respectful, and say, "My lord, as always, I am at your service. What is on your mind?"
He says, "I have been thinking about all the kind things that you've been doing for the people of Sheppy, and I think that it is time that you were given a chance to be a hero, not just for Sheppy, but for places around the world. You are slowly emerging as a hero, and that is why I want to arm you with a long ship and send you to a land that is not too far from here, but 2 days' journey. A slop was sent, and slop in this context is a bard. So he says a bard was sent by the Hermit, not too far from here. They seem to be in a bit of a pickle, and I think that you should take this ship and travel there." He like claps his hand, and as the bard comes over, people realize what's happening, and everybody, a silence falls over the people. And when that happens, the slop takes his place, feeling very natural. He nods and clasps his hands to get a sort of rhythm going, and he says, "Listen, a far-flung isle, mismantled, ruin deep, surrounded by the whale's way, a speck of footfall firmly set upon a blue bright shield. A stone boss boldly sits, battle battered by billow maidens, ancient bearer of grave and grove, home of bristlebacked boar, racked by wild winds keening. Gulls wheeling screech its copse. Baleful beaked eagles unlock their woodhoard. Bitter brine, not balming beer, is lapped by that bead wrought isle. Once a holy held place, a blessing, not bane to honest kin. In heart of deep dwelt slaughter, its leavings glut the grey cloaked wolf, gorges the black raven's bent beak. Feast giver of Woden's greedy birds, moon bleached snow skinned, shield breaker, blood drinker, a pale scabbard for a sword host. Of battle, bold warriors. Hardened heart troop wreak their craft. Battle lights sing but do not sever. Blood embers swing, harmless their hewing. No war sweat stricken from war needle striking. Forge fired handiwork of smiths have no present power here. Weird, unraveled, blades bite dulled. Fates weave woe in warp and weft. Roll a history check with advantage because you, by this point, have made a few friends and you have someone who's learned in history.
All right, beautiful. Remind me, sorry, is it the 2 dice?
Yes. So
Yeah,
make
beautiful.
sure that you assign a old way and new way to your dice.
All right, old way first. 15. And way of the church, 5. Beautiful.
So I think this is your second inspiration, right?
First, I didn't get the last
one, the
one.
church one out. Okay. So
Yep.
what is the number?
History, intelligence, 15 plus 1, so 16.
16. A few sitting with Olaf, sitting with Frode many times, talking to him, and we'll introduce all your followers in a bit. You kind of have now got an ear for that, the way the Scops speak, the way they write, the way they describe situations. And the poem the Scop just read out depicts a mystical ancient island that has witnessed like a lot of battles and bloodshed. It was once a sacred land, but now it has become a place where warriors meet their sad fate. Their weapons are powerless against the forces of destiny that face them on this island. What you now know is that the island's inhabitants, the current inhabitants, are calling for warriors to come help them. Something dark and dangerous has tarnished the peace of their island, and they want your help. And your lord turns to you and says, "It is Egbert, the Hermit's island. While we don't see eye to eye on everything, he is a good man. If he needs help, I would like to be the one offering it. Like I said, the island is but 2 nights' journey from here. I suggest you gather a few of your friends and make your way to the ships. I will arrange your crew."
Of course.
At this point, I'd like to... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, of course, my lord, I will travel with honor. I will bring good renown to our meat hall and to our peoples, and I will help this friend of yours with everything I have.
He seems like very grateful for your words, and he bows his head slightly and he says, "The island follows the church, so it might be a bit uncomfortable for you. Maybe if you want, you can take a companion who is from the church."
Yes, I think that would probably be best. It has been a long time since I have taken the bread and wine, and yes, perhaps, Olaf, I know he is not necessarily the most fond of me, but if we are traveling in your name, I am sure he would accompany me and help smooth things along.
He kind of bristles at the name of Olaf for a second, and then he says, "That makes perfect sense." As everything is being arranged for you, the Scop sits down and prepares your portent. So portent is basically a sign of things to come, how the adventure is going to go. For us, in the mechanics of it all, we have already created the portent. But in the game, it is the Scop who writes based on the call for help and looking at sizing everybody up. He writes these two phrases: "Blossom venturesome, banner timbers." Your portent is basically two phrases which tell us how the adventure will go. This is a pool, in terms of mechanics, this is a pool of inspiration for your followers and for you, and also for me. Sadly, when we rolled inspiration, I did not get any at all to use for the monsters, which is sad because the monsters have some pretty cool abilities if they have inspiration. But we'll move on. We'll make do. It's okay.
After meeting that bear, I'm slightly relieved that the monsters don't have inspiration at this point.
So yes, so that's the portent, and now you make your way to the ship. As the voyage to the Hermit's Island begins, I'd like to talk a little bit about the voyage. The hero of Beowulf has a ship, and they have followers. So can you tell us a little about your followers? And the whole follower system, if you can.
Yeah, of course. So the hero in Beowulf has a pool of followers that is basically driven by their charisma and their level. There's a few different, it's the equivalent of feats, but a few different talents and a few different flaws that each of them can be equipped with. So we've come up with a nice broad pool of followers to choose from. And I believe, at least initially, the cap that you're going to be able to, that a hero will be able to take with them is as much limited by the size of the boat as anything. There are some simple warriors, which are slightly less flavorful. Hala was a simple warrior. We've also got Ubba, Halfdan, and Astrid. And in terms of the followers that will be coming on this adventure, Olaf doesn't necessarily trust Asbjorn. They are pretty diametrically opposed religiously, but he's a good brewer, which could come in handy. He can read and write both the trade tongue, the equivalent of Common, and Latin. And sorry, I'm just reminding myself who else was coming on this particular adventure, because I forgot to copy that from my DMs into my notes. Froda is an old friend. He's very learned about the history of the region, particularly with regards to the old ways, even things like giants, and he can translate the old tongue. from anything that we find, and is also very intelligent, although he's very socially awkward. He's spent a little bit too much time reading and not as much time engaging with other people. It kind of shows a little bit. And I think Brunhilde was also coming on this one, who is a younger kind of younger sister of Asbjorn's adopted family, an aspiring shield maiden, a bit on the younger side in terms of going out and adventuring, and somebody that Asbjorn is going to be a little bit wary of letting get into particularly dangerous situations. She's got very keen senses. She's very good at getting herself out of danger, and is a courageous, daring-do type young lady.
Amazing. So for all of you, the crew of the ship make up like 12 people, and you can get up to 6 people with you. But you can get less than that as well. You yourself don't count into that number, but the maximum number of people you can have in your ship is 18 for now. Your ship is loaded with ballast stones that are each about a child's head in size, and they give weight to the ship, causing it to ride lower into the water. Without that, the draft of the ship and the rudder are the only ways to allow the ship to sail at an angle to the prevailing winds. In the event of the ship capsizing, the stones will all fall out, allowing it to kind of remain afloat. And above the ballast, but below the floorboards, are the supplies laden, because you'll be traveling the ship. I will just put it up on the map. The ship basically is open to all the elements. It's not at all covered. So any food supplies, any clothes, anything that you may have would all get wet when it rains and everything. So everything will get wet over the course of the voyage. So food and other perishables are carefully wrapped up to minimize the damage. And the ship has a sail. Then the mast is stood up in the keelson and supported by the mast fish, and so on and so forth. And all the and most of the crew are lined up to work on the oars of the ship. And as you travel the Vale Road, which is what you will be traveling to go to many different places within the Beowulf world, which is basically the Baltic and North Seas. The first night of the voyage goes pretty smoothly. The winds seem to be working for you, and you are making good time. There is barely any disturbance in the water, and you think this is pretty good. Actually, we'll make time and we'll travel quickly. But soon you learn that is not to your advantage, because during the second night, and this is where your roles in the portent come in, because based on those roles, I've devised a challenge for the journey that you will have. During the second night, perfectly still. The water is as smooth as glass, and no breeze troubles the sea. Looking over the sides of the ship, you can see the shape of various fish and other sea creatures swimming by. The crew, now reliant on oars, is struggling against the unyielding sea. So you must select 2 followers to help the crew maneuver the ship with oars. Each of them need to make a DC 10 Constitution check. If they fail the check, they are considered spent.
Okay. With the just getting used to the terminology. In this sense, does followers include simple warriors, or is this kind of followers with a capital F?
Yeah.
All right.
So
Olaf. Olaf and Froda. Beautiful. So 14 and 9. And as I'm asking Olaf to get on the oars, I'm I'm trying to hide my regret about yesterday when the sailing was good, saying, "See, Olaf, the true gods, they bless our journey. Look at these winds. It is beautiful. We'll be there in no time." Oh, could you row a bit?
Olaf, who was busy sitting and reading, and I would say not at all bothering with the whole workings of the ship. He's just wondering, why aren't we going? And he looks at you and gives you like this dirty look, and then continues to continues to work on the ship, the oars, and eventually you see that it took him maybe an hour or so to be completely exhausted, trying to work with the other members of the crew. And while he is working, and while the ship is moving forward, everything, the two people do make a difference, but Olaf is completely spent. He is done for. But so what that means is that you cannot use his particular powers as a follow-on for that particular day. But you're anyway coming to the end of the day, and when you have a long rest, he's no longer spent.
Beautiful. I'm going to comment sarcastically, not to Olaf, but within earshot of him. The pen might be mightier than the sword, but it is not as good for building up your muscles, eh?
Olaf does not hear it, but I will say the people who did definitely find it funny. So I would say that at this point you make your way. Because of the delay, because of the bit of a time that it took to reach to maneuver the ship and move forward and everything. You come to the island pretty late at night. The island looms out of the dark, a great slab of rock. Waves can be heard booming against high cliffs, while a small light guides the ship to a safe harbor. So you see that there's this beach that you're moving towards, and I'd say the crew, it's pulling up the ship up onto the beach. That's a very simple and easy task for the crew, and they set about securing the ship with props and set up. Some of them do the work on the ship, and some of them work on setting up a camp, and both on board and on the land nearby. So at this point, I have to ask you: your ship is going to be here, parked here for the foreseeable future. How are you handling the ship? Are you going to leave the ship with the crew, or are you going to leave basically a follower behind to be a leader in your absence?
How big is the island? If I needed to kind of come back and is it small enough that if I were to say come across something written in Ogham that I could come back and be like, "Hey, Frodo, something for you to translate here," or would it be?
It's not too big. It would certainly be like a walk, but it would be manageable.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna leave Frodo in charge of the ship. Just ask him to keep an eye on things. And to let me know if there's any reason to come rushing back, if there's any danger.
Mm-hmm.
And to keep people safe.
Yeah, so the crew and Frodo set about kind of making their place for the night, and you see that above the beach, as you walk with, I'm guessing, just Olaf and your warriors.
Yep.
Above the beach, as you walk, you see that there's a tower that seems a little. It seems like it's been ruined. And huddled in its shadow is a small, modest hut. Sorry, And it seems to you there's something similar in Sheppy. This might be a hut where like someone stands and the goods come in and off. They're dropped off here and then they picked up from here. It's also a sort of a guard post of a sort. And as you climb up the steps, you see that the ruin itself seems to be very old, and it's kind of like a little hard to see at night, so you're not able to make out too many features of it. But from the nearby the hut's light, whatever you can see, it seems like it's kind of old, but it's quite big. And as you sort of make your way towards the hut, you see a man standing by the doorway of the hut. At this point, I want to ask what you're doing. The hut is some 20 feet across and simple, but looks quite sturdy, and it's made up of timber posts. There's a few wooden planks to stave off the worst of the wind. There's a small fire in the center of the hut, which is where that light was coming from, and the smoke is slowly escaping from the reed thatch. So you see a person standing there. What do you do at this point?
Do they just look like they've seen a ship coming in and they're standing out waiting or standing out to see who it is? Is there yeah. I would if it's nighttime, I think I would have lit a torch as we're walking up the island, and I'll just kind of wave the torch back and forth above my head and call out, I am here on behalf of Lord Elfred. A man named Egbert has asked for his help. I am the help.
You see that the man slowly walks forward, lighting his own torch along the way. He seems a little gruff, very tall, little wide, and he just politely says, well, then let me take you to him. And nods and starts moving in that general direction. So that would be, I would say that you are currently, I'll put your token up so that you can know your position. So you're currently here. Yeah.
Beautiful. Looking around, does anything seem untoward? Any strange animal shacks? Anything unusual about the building?
The building itself seems fine, but if you can make a perception check with this, with a straight perception roll.
Absolutely. 16 for 21.
So a closer inspection, as he moves forward to precede you, a little bit of a close inspection shows you that a great deal of fallen stone around the hut, some of which appears to have been recently moved to attempt to create a windbreak to further shelter the hut. And as you look up at the roof, it's made of reed thatch and is in some state of disrepair. It looks like there's some need for repairs over there. And you see the man kind of stops and he turns back and looks at you, looking up at the roof, and he says very softly, using reeds for the roof, reed thatch. They're being imported onto the island. There are very few natural resources here. The wild wind and ravaging storms have taken their toll.
It does not seem a particularly sturdy shelter if there is a monster on the loose. Are you a particularly brave man, or do you have a lot of faith in your god to keep you safe?
he like looks a little puzzled at that. He says, "I was asked to wait here for any ships that might come for help, and I have waited."
Oh, hi. My name is Asbjorn Skell. Well met.
Frithgard.
What was that, sorry, mate?
Frithgard. Frithgar.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm gonna shake him by the forearm in the traditional fashion. Give him a friendly nod.
He says, "I am a builder. I've been working on this." And he points there when there is daylight.
I like the windbreak. It adds a lot of charm to the building, and well built.
He nods a little. Kind of keep like he's quite reserved. He's not really reacting in terms of his expressions or emotions. He's like very stoic.
I'm gonna get the sense that he's not really a small talk person, and just kind of meet him on his terms on that, and just give him a nod and follow him wherever he's leading me.
Yeah. So as you see, he moves like 1 second. I'm just going to add his name onto the thing so that you can have that there, because I know I butchered the pronunciation. Okay. So you see him sort of moves up the way. He's taking a very like a very temporary kind of road that's been made into the soil. And as he comes across this part, here there's a stone awaiting you here. And once you see the stone, you think, okay, it is something that you need help with. I'm just going to put that up on the right side of the map so that you can take a look. You can increase the size if you want, I believe. It's on the right.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So what you see here is at this junction, at the distance you can see the Hermit's Hall. At this junction, there is a standing stone complete with carvings. The carvings show what appears to be a horned figure gripping itself. Many smaller figures surround it. They appear to be doing battle. The smaller figures' swords appear to be broken. There is some kind of ancient writing on the stone made of lines scored by other lines. So yeah, you see that.
All right. And I'm gonna make a mental note of that. And we'll probably get Frodo to come and translate it once there is daylight and once we're in a bit less of a hurry. But just as we're passing, I'm gonna ask Olaf if he can translate it, knowing that he's gonna say no, and just say, Frodo will definitely be able to translate it tomorrow.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Olaf will say no, and then I get Okay, so Olaf looks a little put off, and he's also very tired physically. That's a short walk from the standing stone to the sanctuary itself. You can see this is the route and this is the sanctuary. And as you approach, you can see that the walls of this sanctuary vary in height. Sometimes, like maybe by a foot here and there. Some being like about 5 foot tall, some being about 6 foot tall. It's not like a big impenetrable defense sort of setup here. I'm just putting up the sanctuary. What you see is basically the night view, so you see only what's quite close to your eyes. But you can see that the view walking from the standing stone to the sanctuary. It's keeping out worst of the wind, and close to the path is a single gateway. It seems to be that there is a section of the wall that needs repair, and there are wooden posts and some piles of stone mark where the repairs are in progress. Prithgar, as you come close to it and you see that pile of rubble, says there was a storm, a huge storm that caused a lot of damage recently, including to the wall which partially collapsed near the gate. I've been working on repairing it.
It seems like you must have a lot of work here with the weather. It is a good job the Hermit has you.
He you see a little where you can see him blush a little, and then he walks forward into the hall. Over here at this point you see that there are two circular huts and a oval hut that's much bigger and oblong sort of there. There's Frithgar explains that one of these is a storehouse. He points here, and one of these is a servant's room, but leads you directly down towards the oblong hall. Do you wait? Do you take a detour? Do you do anything else?
I'm gonna just have a quick look at the wall, and just... I'm not sure how obvious it would be, but I want to see if there's any signs that it was caused by anything other than a storm, like claw marks, horn marks, any... Yeah, I think I'd probably be pretty familiar with what storm damage looks like, so just seeing if there's anything about it that's unusual or not what it should be.
You see that a lot of... Actually, it is kind of dark here. If you could roll another perception with disadvantage.
Absolutely. Ooh, so 15 on that.
15. I will say that the stones here that have been used to kind of repair this wall. This wall stone are different from the ones that you saw back at the ruin, but some of the stones resemble the stones from the ruin, as if some of those stones were taken and put here. But you don't necessarily see any claw marks or scratch or that kind of thing. This damage is very based out of heavy winds coming across it, and these stones that they have brought seems to be stronger, made of stronger stuff than what they have now.
Right. Any similarity between the new stone and what the standing stone was carved from?
Yes, they both of the same material. Yeah.
Alright, just before we go in, I'm just gonna kind of put my arm on Frithgar's shoulder for a second and just say, my friend, is there any possibility that there were further standing stones that you have reclaimed as part of your building?
From the ruin.
Oh, from the initial ruin on the shore?
We have taken some from the ruin.
And is there any similarity in how long ago this began with the appearance of the monster on the island?
He looks puzzled for a second. He says, these came loose themselves, and that's why I picked them off.
Interesting. It is possible that there are old magics that have been disturbed. But who knows? I am sure between us, our collective gods will give us the wisdom to discover this.
He looks a little uncomfortable at the mention of gods, but he nods and he starts walking in. At this point, I will say let's take a break before we go in to meet all the characters at the Hermit's sanctuary.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Inside you there are 3 wolves, big ones, all full of teeth and claws and lupine cunning. The first wolf wants to cheer on the valiant warriors of TPK as they smash devious puzzle after ingenious riddle, marveling at their superhuman intelligence and wit. The second wolf just wants to watch it unfold, so they can join in, do some fun puzzles, and crack jokes in chat. The third wolf is wondering why the hell the 3 of them chose to live in a human, where it's all cramped and dark and moist and full of organs. But it is hard to watch streams in the forest. In it, mate. True wisdom is knowing that all 3 of your wolves are right. True sportsmanship is not spamming the chat with answers like some kind of despicable nonce. True intelligence is the only way that today's adventurers will survive. Obey your inner wolves. Join us. Come and play.
Okay. Okay, so everyone, welcome back. We're going to continue with Beowulf, and one thing I forgot to do is actually, as you were talking to Fritgar, can you make me a DC 12 persuasion check?
Absolutely. Ooh, persuasion.
Ah, nice. So that will be that will pass the DC. That's a 15.
15. So with a 15, as you are talking about the ruined tower and how the stone from the tower are being used here at the Hermit Sanctuary, Fritka actually looks at you and he says, I can always use help in the repairs if you're ever, or you and your friends are ever interested in helping. And as he says that, he says there were a lot of strange carvings on the stone from ancient times inside that tower. I saw you looking at the stone back there, looking at the carvings. I think you would that would be of interest to you as well. The carvings on the stone there.
Very much so. I have a friend back at the boat, Froda. He would, I think, get a lot of knowledge from looking at these carvings, and once the issue at hand has been dealt with and the island is safe, we would be more than happy to stay for a few extra days and to help you rebuild and make sure you are sheltered before the next storm comes in.
That would be wonderful. And he leads you inside the Hermit's Hall. It's a little quieter than what you are used to back at Sheppy, and you see that he enters. I am going to put in your token as well, which I keep forgetting to do for some reason. So
Just a nat 20 on the stealth.
yeah. I'm like, who am I missing here? Nobody. So you come in, and it's a wide hall. Not very. It's actually quite different from what you're used to. It's smaller than what you're used to for sure. And the Hermit's Hall is kind of quieter, less people. People are now sitting here around the hearth, which is like around the fire at the center, and you see some of them sitting there eating, some of them sort of talking amongst each other. It's not a very formal place. You can see the different names on the tokens, but pretend that you don't know them just yet. And I will say point to someone that looks interesting to you, and we will get started with a conversation with them.
Alright, I would probably just turn to the nearest person, which would be Elfnoth over here. They probably don't look old or wise or shabby enough to be a hermit. So I just kind of take some of the rain and the weather off my cloak, take a step towards the fire, and give them a friendly nod, and say, "Good evening and well met. I am here on the behalf of Lord Elfred. My name is Asbjorn Skall, and I am pleased to introduce you to my companions, Halfdan, Kalla, and Olaf."
Your companions say hello as well, and Elfnoth kind of is a very tall man. He's quite thin, kind of almost reminds you of a stork or like a very tall, thin kind of bird. He has these piercing, beady gray eyes, and his clothes remind you of that of your crew because he looks dressed to be about a sailor. He has this, I think it's called Phrygian cap.
Phrygian, yep.
Yeah. and he has a little bit of hair coming out of like the sides of the cap. You see that he's kind of looks like he's putting on some airs. And can you make a DC 15 insight check?
Absolutely. That's not going to make it. That's a 10.
Do you have a drift or exile background?
I don't. I'm trying to remember what the background is. Let me check my character sheet. No, I have the believer.
Okay. So you kind of see that he's trying to put on some airs, but like for a second he looks a little aloof, but then he smiles and he says, yes, hello. So you've come in your ship here to help us, have you?
We have. It would have been a very difficult walk, so my lordship was kind enough to give me loan of one of his longships. We have heard you are having some trouble on the island, and of course Lord Elfred is a great friend to Egbert, has great respect for his wisdom and his knowledge, and we have come to render what assistance may be required.
Yes, Lord Egbert is a very holy man, but his mind is failing. So I don't know how much you will get out of him.
I am sorry to hear this, but you yourself have the bearing of a wise and knowledgeable individual. I am sure there is much to be learned here, regardless of which mind it is forthcoming from.
Well, okay. Why do you think... Why would you come all the way here? I don't understand. Just to help us.
Yes, we had a call for help from a slope, and well, he said that he was here on behalf of Egbert. We had no reason to doubt him.
Well, this was sent by Caro, the housekeeper. So a very bitter woman, only lives here because she couldn't be put up with anywhere else. So obviously she blows things out of proportion.
You yourself are not concerned about any recent happenings on the island, sir?
Oh, of course. I am concerned, but you have to wonder why someone would call so many outsiders, send so many signals of help. I mean, certainly and he looks around a bit and he says, we look safe here.
Well, with the utmost respect, I would suggest that being a hermitage, there are not many of you here, and if you need any help of any kind, it would have to come from outsiders.
Hmm.
We have no... Sorry. We have no wish to disturb your holy musings or your way of doing things here. We come...
Oh, no. So I am a provisioner. I travel quite often and I travel quite a lot. I am not at all troubled by new faces. In fact, that is my entire profession. Do you... like you said, you couldn't walk here, so you came here on a ship. Unfortunately for me, my ship has been quite damaged. Tell me, what words did you hear about our island here?
That it is an ancient island, long populated, that it has seen a lot of battles, and that it was once considered sacred ground, but it is
now, again, with utmost respect, that sacredness has been profaned, and the island is accursed by a monster that has been killing people.
Killing people. Well, these two people, three people who died. One of them was a holy man, of course, and I am very sorry to see him go. But the man and woman who died, I have to say, I'm not too trusting of them. I think they were stealing from the hermit.
Did you do anything to raise these concerns while they were alive?
It's only after their death that I understood that this happened. Things have gone missing. If you ask the hermit, he will tell you.
Well, it is interesting to know. And the holy man, he is free of crime and misdeed, you believe?
Well, the holy man is unfortunate. I do not know what happened there. But he was at the beach when he was attacked.
Interesting. And may I ask, Elfnoth, if the missing items have only been noticed to be missing after the man and woman have died, what makes you believe that they are responsible?
Well, the missing items, they are long gone, and I don't know who else here. I mean, he looks around. Edgar is too foolish, and Frithgar is stupid and becomes very violent if crossed. These are not the people who would steal.
I'm gonna look around just to make sure there's a bit of a kind of gap between us, and we're gonna lean in and say quite softly, is it not the case that when one reaches an age where one's mind is failing, that one will often misplace items in the strangest of places?
He looks at you. What do you mean?
In your own words, the hermit Egbert, he is of advanced years.
Yes.
You described his mind as failing, and in my own experience, one of my grandfathers, he lost his shoe for months until we found it at the bottom of the woodpile. I do not think anybody stole it.
Well, these are not shoes, if you excuse me. I am sure the shoes were very valuable to your grandfather, but these are very important items to the church, to our existence, really. If his mind were failing, which he thinks for a moment. But I doubt he can be capable of misplacing such items so thoroughly that we just cannot find them again. I think the two dead people made off with it. Or they were going to, I suppose.
And there is no chance in your mind that the person or creature who killed them stole the items?
Well, the creature who killed him would have no use for these items as far as I know.
May I ask what they were specifically?
The people?
The people and the holy relics that you are missing.
Oh, I wouldn't know about the relics. That's all the hermit would know. I simply take them from one place to the other, or was supposed to, really.
That is unfortunate.
Well, I won't keep you all to myself. I would say that you should talk to the others, no matter how droll and dull they are. If you Well, of course, you will be here for a while, but if you have room in your ship, let me know. I would like to get out of this place.
I will certainly take that under consideration when we are looking to leave and depart back to my home meet home.
He kind of gives a slight nod, like he doesn't like how the conversation went, and moves away from you. What do you do?
Yeah, similar. I think Asbjorn's going to be finding it difficult to conceal that he's not finding this guy entirely trustworthy and thinks some of those answers are a bit sus.
Yeah.
He is going to approach the housekeeper.
Okay.
And say, good evening, and Gods be with you. I understand your name is Kero. I am Asbjorn, and I have been sent by my lord Alfred in response to your call for help. Are you able to tell me more about what has been happening here?
Can you make a DC 15 persuasion check?
Absolutely. Ooh, that might just make it. Cheat. Yeah, 15 on the button.
Okay. Kero kind of looks at you, assesses you very openly for a second, and she says, before she can say anything though, is there any symbol on you that you are wearing that suggests that you follow the old ways?
Yeah, I've got a very visible, just on my neck here, very visible Tiwaz rune, which is the symbol of the god Tyr.
Make another roll, and we'll be taking the lower one.
Oh, alright, so still 15.
Okay. So she looks at you, she takes a moment to answer, and she says, yes. I suppose I should tell you. Things are very difficult for us right now. There are 3 people who have been eaten alive, or we believe it to be by a monster. These 2 pilgrims, they traveled, a man and a woman came to the island to visit Egbert and take prayers with him. We don't know too much about them beyond the fact that they both seemed honest and good followers of the church. They only ever discussed spiritual matters with Egbert and me, and they kept to themselves. They were taken on 2 separate nights. The first was when the man, he was walking later in the evening, he was taken, and only his bloody bones were found when Frithka went searching for him the next morning. And the next day, the woman, she was distraught when she found out her companion died, and she went searching for the beast. Eventually that night, when she didn't return, we knew something had happened, and she joined him in the belly of the beast. We just found blood and bones again, where the standing stones are. And the morning after that, there was a boat bearing provisions that was sent for help. And along with that boat came a very young monk to visit and assist Egbert in these trying times. He came late in the night, and so we didn't hear him or see him, but we heard the monster's roars and the screaming from him. By the time any of us could reach them, the monster had only left behind his grisly remains.
This is a most terrible tale. I am sorry that you have witnessed such foulness and such violence. The two pilgrims. When I spoke to Elfnoth, he did not seem too fond of them, too keen on them. Were there any disagreements between the three of them?
He's not too fond or keen of any of them. I don't know. I mean, Elfnoth has a problem with all of us. I don't know. I don't think he had any problem with the pilgrims. I mean, the pilgrims didn't. They kept to themselves mostly. She kind of turns her head towards the little boy. She says, I am very worried what will happen of this sanctuary. Egbert's mind is failing him, and it's very hard to keep him talking sometimes. You must rely on your faith just so that he pays attention.
That is good information I will bear in mind, thank you, and perhaps before I meet the Hermit, my good friend and close companion Olaf could lead us in a prayer.
Olaf, who's like exhausted and like very tired, and he like looks up at you out of nowhere. This guy suddenly asks him to pray, and he's like, sure. And he like very suspiciously starts to lead everybody into a prayer. You see everyone get involved except Fritzgar, who sort of is going through the motions a little bit. And he's kind of like putting up like, okay, yeah, I'm doing this sort of thing, but he's not really into it at all. And eventually like you see an older man sort of walk out and approach the fire and listen to Olaf and kind of follow along.
Beautiful. As we say amen, I'm going to very surreptitiously touch my Tiwaz rune. And introduce myself to Egbert. You must be Egbert. It is a pleasure to meet you. Lord Alfred sends his warmest regards. He speaks very highly of you, and he has sent me to assist you and ensure your safety on this holy island.
Egbert kind of zones out a little in between of that and like comes back in. And he said, yes, I'm very glad that you are here. What is it that you are here to do again?
The pilgrims. You had some pilgrims who died, and a young monk who has been killed. I am to find out how and why they died, and to make sure you and your people are safe.
He kind of listens and he nods. Yes. You see him like this time like paying quite close attention. So what do you need from me?
Well, shelter for the night would be a most welcome start. I would like to have a look on the runestones in the morning when there is light. And I wonder, sir, do you remember about the two holy relics in your possession that have gone missing?
And as you were talking, like you were sort of more wandering slightly, but then he comes back immediately when you talk about the relics, and he kind of makes like a gesture looking around the room. There have been things going missing.
Do you remember what has gone missing?
He looks very uncomfortable. Can you make a insight check?
Absolutely.
DC 15 again.
Oh yeah, no, that's not gonna do it.
Is that nat 20?
That looks like a 2 to me.
What? Okay. That looked like a 20.
Yeah, I think the 2 is slightly
It's a
brighter than the
2.
20.
Yeah. Sorry.
Got my hopes up for a second, and I thought I just like zoned out the 0 or something.
So he kind of shuts down a little bit when he hears you, and it looks like he looks sharp at this moment. He looks like he knows what you're talking about and does not want to discuss it with you.
It is not a problem if you cannot remember, of course. I am sure I will get much information I need from the rune stones and the carvings on the ruin.
He kind of says, this island is a very ancient place where the ancients used to follow the old ways and the pagan gods did their magic. And it has always been a place where their magic was strong, but now that magic is waning in the light of the world of the church. And the more the people learn and read, the less there is to fear from the dark. And even the stones of the graveyard attest to our past. I think God has sent you to help us. And so I will help you. And he very quietly reaches into his robes and pulls out a small thread with a bead, a single amber bead on it, and he pushes it into your hand. It is an amulet against evil. Keep it.
Thank you.
And he just, turns and leaves.
Thank you, I will treasure it. I hope you rest well, and it is probably time we do the same. And yeah, as he's turning away in a quiet moment, I'm just gonna whisper over my shoulder to Halfdan. This is why men should go to Valhalla before they reach such a state of infirmity. It is sad to see.
What does he say in response? You're playing all the followers.
If he has spent his life reading books on an island on his own, I am not sure he deserves to go to Valhalla. Maybe hell has a place for him.
Okay, so now the bead that you got on the string, that is the amber talisman, which gives you advantage on 1 saving throw per day.
Nice.
So the church is helping you there if you want that help. I've put the description of it in the channel, but just saying it out loud for
Everyone on YouTube.
A follower of the old ways may recognize the symbol as an ancient of their own faith, while a hero who follows the ways of the church will see it as a holy talisman.
Alright, that's very convenient, but I'll absolutely take it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm gonna take just the last bit of the necklace part and just wrap it around the rune of Tiwaz. You get double protection from my gods.
Yeah. And so you speak to people. So do you want to sleep here? Do you want to return to the ship? What do you want to do? There's plenty of room here.
What's the weather like outside?
The weather's pretty calm actually. It's cold and calm. Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna thank Olaf for his help and his prayers, and invite him to stay here as he's clearly exhausted.
and just ask him to keep his eyes and his ears open until we return in the morning. And then I'm going to head back to the ship so that I can pick up Frodo to come and translate the runes in the morning.
Do you go with your simple warriors, or do you leave them here as well?
They'll be coming with me. Just there's been at least one grisly death on the beach. If I'm sleeping on the beach, I would quite like Halfdan and Halla nearby.
Okay, so as you leave for the day with them, I will say that what you one second. Okay. So you see in your sorry, just 1 second.
No problem.
We're back on the island map, and you will see that there is a person here. Like when you're walking down the road, it's kind of calm. Do you say anything to your followers, or do you kind of keep quiet and like take a short walk to the beach?
I'm probably going to be pretty quiet, just turning over what I've learned in my head and just kind of playing back those conversations. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be starting any small talk or picking any brains at this point.
So as you do that, I will say that you're walking down the street. Now this map is colorful and bright, but like imagine that it's night. It's pitch black. So do you have your torch open?
Absolutely.
So as you kind of put out your torch and you're walking, what do you are you keeping an eye out and trying to like look at the what you can, or are you just like quietly making your way to the ship?
I'm gonna be watching and listening. From what I've heard, it sounds like all 3 attacks have happened at night. And yeah, any sign of a beast or a monster around, I'm gonna hopefully be alert to that.
Okay.
And yeah, any signs of anybody kind of sneaking around or getting up to skullduggery.
So I'll say that it's about in this area that you're there, kind of a little distance from the Hermit. You said Halfdan and?
Halfdan and Halla be with me.
Halla, not Astrid. Okay.
Oh, sorry, I might have got that confused.
I'm
Yeah,
putting down Halla.
Beautiful.
So as you guys are walking, you see that there's someone running away in this direction, screaming, and that is followed by this one particular image of like this one particular thing following behind this gigantic creature. Do you see it on the map?
Yeah, that looks pretty scary.
Yup. And like, do you see like the weapons at the back of?
Yeah.
Through your torchlight, you can see like this shadow of some weapons that are sticking out this creature's back. So I would say that this creature is like got these long, sharp claws and like almost on all fours, kind of bent, moving behind that creature. The running away figure, whom you soon recognize to be someone of your crew. And as they are, I would say, almost going to pass you by, what do you do?
I mean, I can't leave my crew member to die. I am going to snuff out my torch
I'm going to get low to the ground and try and make myself difficult to spot. And I'm going to fire some arrows at the creature, not in any expectation that they will harm it or kill it, but just trying to distract it for long enough for my crew member to get away.
Can you make a stealth roll?
Absolutely.
This monster is making a lot of noise as it moves behind that creature. There's no attempt at stealth here. It's roaring, it's like pounding its footsteps, and there's like a lot of smashing and tearing sounds as these weapons on this creature's back sort of move. What did you roll?
That was a 12. Not great.
12? Okay. I will also roll something. What is this? Okay. Yeah. That's a D20 plus 3. So 18. So I will say that you, and I'm counting your roll for Hala and Halfdan as well, who I have also called Hala for some reason.
I'm sure he won't mind. He's a pretty chill guy.
So the three of you they follow your lead and they kind of crouch low, and the three of you attempt to sort of hide yourself so that you have a more advantageous position to attack when this creature comes roaring in front of you. Roll initiative for yourself and for your followers.
Alright, beautiful. So for myself, dirty 20.
Right.
For Halfdan, 18. And for Hala, 19.
Okay, I'm just putting you all up into initiative. Lucky for you, this creature is very slow to move. Like it's announcing to the entire world that it's coming towards you. So its initiative is 1. Yours is?
Mine was 20.
20. Halfdan?
18.
18. Hala?
19.
19. Okay, so it's you who goes first. This creature is rushing towards you. What do you do? Up close, you realize that this is some kind of a troll.
Some kind of a troll. Would Asbjorn be likely to know that traditionally trolls are harmed by fire, not steel? Do you think? I don't even know if that's true in this game. It's just.
I would say make a nature roll.
Nature, beautiful. Seven.
I'd say you wouldn't know. You just know that a lot of people have tried to put weapons on this thing and it has kept their weapons.
Alright, I am not going to be risking my axe. Is my crew member managing to get away with us distracting the troll?
They're out of there.
Alright, beautiful. In that case, I'm gonna call for Halfdan and Hala to retreat. Am I gonna be firing my bow? No, I'm just going to shout for all of us to try and dash back to the Hermitage and see if we can outpace it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think my axe or my arrows are gonna do anything here.
Make a for the three of you, make an athletics roll.
Beautiful.
And you just have to beat a 10 because this creature is slow.
Alright. I'm still considering using my inspiration. Nah, let's risk it. Go on. Oh! Alright, so that is 15 for Asbjorn.
Yeah.
11 for Halfdan. And 18 for Hala.
this creature is slow, but right now it feels like running, and it has scored a 24. So this creature is running like not just at par, but like faster than the three of you, to the point where it actually reaches the Hermit sanctuary before you. And at this point, it's thinking you're too slow for it, and it's going to go into the sanctuary and see what's available for dinner.
Alright,
And as you see that, as you come closer, you see that it's completely stuck at the door. It's like too wide for the door. It's not able to fit in any way, maneuver itself into the door. And it's clawing deep into the entrance of the Hermitage to try to catch anything that can come into their way. But the people in there seem to realize that it can't reach them right now, and they've backed away as much as they can and are shouting help. What are you doing?
Does it look like the troll is strong enough to kind of force the stone, or does it look like it's going to be kind of stuck in that doorway?
It looks quite stuck. Not in the sense that it can't back out, more in the sense that it can't go forward.
Yeah, beautiful. I am going to nod to Halfdan and Hala, and quickly and quietly move away towards the boat.
Okay.
And yeah, if it can't get to anyone in the Hermitage, if my crew member has got away safely, and there's no point going after it with axes or arrows, then I'm going to go back to where people have camped. Suggest we set up a ring of torches around the camp as best we can to give us some visibility on anything approaching, and take turns keeping watch until daylight.
The people in there are screaming help. Just letting you know.
About 5 feet tall, actually.
The wall is 5 to 6 feet tall.
Actually, yeah. I am probably the. Sorry, I was picturing bigger walls for a moment. I'm gonna try and sneak around if I can. Climb over the wall at the back. And tell people to essentially stay in the Hermitage, stay away from the gate. It doesn't look like it can come in.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this is probably the thing that killed everyone, guys.
Yeah. Everybody is like, oh, probably, yeah. At this point, I am going to attempt to roll for it to break the walls. What I just now realized when I rolled athletics is that it has a high athletics. That's a dirty 20. Yeah, I'd say like if it has about 3 out of 5 successes, and I will go in turns where you do one thing and it tries to break the wall. And if it has 3 out of 5 successes, then it has broken and is able to move in.
Alright, beautiful.
Because if you remember, this part of the wall is still being repaired.
Yeah. With the carved runes that they've demolished. Alright, so yeah, over my turns, I am, in case it breaks through, I'm gonna try and get people out of the long hall. I've got a rope in my heroes pack, and I'm gonna try and get people over the back wall here, over to where Asbjorn is, so that if it breaks into the Hermitage, there won't be anyone in there. And if it doesn't break into the Hermitage, they can just get over that rope and get back inside.
I think that people are very scared right now, so you will have to do a little bit of convincing to get them to not like kind of not to say that they're not listening to you, but more in the sense of they're paralyzed.
That's fair. I'm gonna say to them, look, it is big, it is strong, but it is not very smart. If we can get to somewhere where it cannot see us, there is little chance it will follow. And for the Hermit himself, I don't imagine he's even a 5-foot wall. I don't imagine he's going to be climbing anything. So I am, with an attempt at a straight face, I am going to say, Mary wants me to carry you over this wall, Egbert. She whispered it to me. Please allow me to carry you. And just fireman's lift him.
Okay. I would say that's a good one. Like, I'll say are you going first with Egbert, or are you kind of waiting for everyone else to go and then you follow?
I will.
Or are Hala and Halfdan on duty for that?
Hala and Halfdan can be kind of trying to shepherd people and trying to sheer them along, but I think if I go over first with Egbert, that might encourage other people to come.
Okay. So you go over first with Egbert, make an athletics roll. DC 10.
Don't drop the one. Yeah, that's very nice. That's going to be a 23.
23. So you take Egbert, he's kind of light enough for you to pick him up with no problem, and you climb over the wall. There are parts of the wall that are lower and higher and all of that, and you find the perfect spot to go over. Your followers help you set up the rope and everything for the others to get over the wall. I'm just going to roll another d20. Why am I rolling so good? 23. So it's going to have broken like one part of the wall again. And I'll say by the time you get 2 more people out, it has rolled poorly for the first time. So 11. So
Right.
It's still struggling. So that's 2, right? 2 successes, 1 failure.
Yep.
And last one to say, by now I would say, like, not last one, sorry. If this is a success, it'll have gone in before you've gotten all the people out, is what I'm trying to say.
Beautiful. Just before that's determined, was it Elfnorth? The provisioner. He's getting rescued last in terms of everyone in the Hermitage.
Okay, so this is a 13 plus 8, which is a 21. He has broken past the gates and is rushing forward. I think this is where we'll end today's session. Just because I feel like this is a nice spot to end things. And like come back to later and the music is so relaxing, so like yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense for this particular scene. But yeah, this is all we're gonna play for today. Do you have anything that you want to promote or like say or do that'll stop me from speaking for some time?
Just thank you for running this and for kind of putting everything together. It's been really fun, genuinely terrifying towards the end there, and looking forward to seeing how it resolves.
I love
Thank you
this
so much.
monster. When I saw this monster, I was so happy. Like, it was such a nice monster. But yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Yeah, that's it. Cut the stream, cut it, guys. Wait,
We're done.
everybody
Bye.
who has to do it is dead. So, okay, bye, everyone. I'm just gonna check the YouTube to see if they've cut it.